probably dazed for the first few months of being here. This is from my journal. School started shortly after our arrival, and we were consumed with uniform and book buying. I had to have about 30 books, which seemed like an awful lot to me, and the uniforms were black shoes, white socks, navy skirt, and a white blouse. We carried our books with us every day along with a frozen water bottle, which helped us not to melt away. Cookie Law would come and pick us up every morning in his big black truck and take us on the 20-minute ride to school downtown, past the slaughterhouse and all the vultures, past the bazaar and out a ways into the country. I loved Cookie Law, the driver, and Moonalaw, the bear, because they were so handsome. And Mr. Peters.
Oh, Mr. Peters!
Cookie Law was especially nice and fun. I was disappointed when I discovered he was married. I'm all 11 years old here. School was more difficult and anxiety-producing than school had been in the U.S. We studied many subjects concurrently: geometry, geography, algebra, arithmetic, literature, history, grammar, poetry, composition, general knowledge, physical science, natural science, home economics, physical training. Plus, if you were from India, you took Hindi and Sanskrit on top of all of that. So we had finals. We didn't have finals in the US in elementary school. We had finals here, and they were scary to me. I never had a final. There was a lot of memorization, which we didn't do in US schools. I learned Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost, and taught by our beloved Miss DeCuna. I also learned I Think That I Shall Never See a Poem as Lovely as a Tree, which I have forgotten. Students were required to stand when the teacher arrived and greet them in chorus. Good morning, Mr. Peters. Good morning, Miss DeCuna. And also had to stand every time they answered a question. It was much more formal. I remember many nervous evenings spent memorizing and studying on my bed. I also found walking on the mounds of the garden a good place to practice what I was learning. I used to long for the dinner bell to ring so I could stop studying. And as long as Gaziram the cook was our cook, dinner was so wonderful. So I brought some memorabilia. I saved my exams. So much work went into these exams. I saved it, and I was looking at them last night. It's remarkable, the things that we learned and the scope of the things that we learned here. And I also brought this, which was a huge surprise to me, given to me after my first exams. I came in '65 in the summer, and then we had exams that winter, that December. And then I was given this.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you're familiar with these. I've never seen one. It says MHS Honors 1965. This is my class right here. You're like, she won that?
Class 6, you're going 6, no? At that time?
We didn't have all academics, mostly academics, but we learned how to sew. And this was in the next year, the 7th level, in the spring. And we had
home science.
Home science.
Home science.
Yeah, hand sewn with little stitches. These are embroidered with a name, so that person doesn't lose these. And then this is stitches. All stitches in here. And then some embroidery at the Bible. I couldn't do this before I came to India. This was remarkable. I had a really cute handkerchief that was trimmed in crochet.
Wow,
So,
big crochet.
yeah, this will go with me to my death. I will never throw these away. About halfway through the year, my elder siblings, Sue, There were 8 of us children. You can imagine how embarrassing it was to go to the train station and see the 2 parents, 2 children campaign in India, and there were 8 of us, and my mom went home pregnant. We have big families in Utah. About halfway through the year, though, my older siblings went to the American school in Missouri, India. My dad didn't want the big kids to get behind in the American curriculum. But oddly, well, my class was full in the American school, and I didn't have to go. And in many ways, staying at MHS, I got ahead of the American curriculum. So this is an amazing experience. Culturally, I want to tell you about one thing, and then I have one other at the end, and I'm going to be finished. But every time we drove to school, we passed a roundabout, which, by the way, we didn't have in the U.S. at that time, so that was so cool instead of a traffic light. There was a theater on the way, and the posters looked so interesting, and I begged my mother, can I go to the movies on a Saturday? She let me go. That was such an experience to see everybody stand and sing the national anthem. And then in the middle of the movie, when something exciting happened, everyone jumped to their feet and they cheered. And that was really almost as good as the movie, just watching the audience. But that
Live
movie was
shows.
Mere Sanam.
Very
I
sad.
own that movie now. And I'm going to sing you a little bit of it. Who wait to pay